What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank, and today I'm going to give you another lesson. I have to do this as a real Pan-African. I have to keep banging this joint. All my subscribers are telling me keep pushing, keep telling the truth, because sometimes it takes quite a bit of effort to cut through the ignorance of people. It takes quite a bit of effort to cut through the thick atmosphere of disinformation, right? And we got a lot of Coonarians that's trying to lead our people off a cliff, right? They're trying to lead, listen, they're literally tying a blindfold around our people and wants to lead them off a cliff, all right, to today's Republican Party, off a cliff. And listen to me, I don't have a problem with Republicans, real Republicans. I don't have a problem, like, I don't have a problem with, on normal circumstances, people making choices between Democrats and Republicans, even as black folks, you know, depending on what politician is benefiting. In Maryland, we used to have a Republican mayor, right? Well, Republican governor. He was governor, right, for many years. White guy. And Maryland's a predominantly, and this is the richest black, one of the richest black places in America, right? We had no problem with him. He was a very good governor. We didn't complain. One day, I think he's planning on running for the presidency. That's why I think he's quick. I think he's getting himself ready. But we have good, reasonable Republicans, right? But right now, there is something behind that's using the Republican Party as the vehicle for them to make political change. And I keep telling y'all, it's the white Christian evangelical movement. It's, you know how you ever heard them say the white Taliban, right? Christian fundamentalists. They're just like Muslim fundamentalists. They're just like the Buddhist fundamentalists in India. You know, the Buddhists, you know, the most peaceful, supposedly peaceful religion, non-religion, but they kill people over there. They kill Muslims, right? They have an extreme sect, right? And they want to keep things a certain way, and they want people to look a certain way, and they will kill for it, all right? You got people in India who are Hindu, who will kill you for killing a cow. They will kill you for killing a cow. It's that serious, right? You have extreme ideologies all over the place. And in America, we have our own white, evangelical, Christian nationalist, okay? That is the base of today's Republican Party. Each Democrat and Republican Party class, they're different classes. They actually have classes. You know how when you was in high school, you had the class of whatever year you graduate, right? Well, in politics, it runs that way. And if you go on a government website where you look at policy, you will see, if you wanted to ever see what it is that any administration or any government or any Democrat or Republican class, whether in the House or Congress, whatever they did, you can look this up. You can find out which class of Republicans, which year, and you can go all the way down to the very beginning. You can see they're different. Each class is a different group of people, right? Today's Republican Party, which has been taken over by MAGA, right, which used to be the Tea Party, right? These are Christian, evangelical, white nationalists. They believe America is a white, male-dominated Christian country where Christianity, the white version of Christianity, should dominate and it should dictate policy, and all black people and Spanish people and Indian people need to concede that white people and Christian white males are on top, and they are the standard, the default, and the ultimate primary influencers on the planet via America. You understand, the Coonarians want you to go off a cliff. Either they're evil or they're just grossly misinformed. But I got a long video I want you. Well, it's not that long. It's about 7 minutes. All right. It's about 7 minutes long, and this will teach you who the base of the Republican Party is. You know how the Democratic Party, they say, what do they say the base is? They say black people, we African people, are the base of the Democratic Party, right? So as the base of the Democratic Party, which we are, that's just what we are. We used to be the base of the Republican Party back about 100 years ago. Back when the Republican Party 100 years ago had policies that benefited us African people at the time, right? Even it's not like they kissed our ass or nothing, but there were little policies that benefit. It was better to be a Republican back then than it was to be a Democrat. Right now, it's better to be a Democrat than it is to be a Republican. That's how it is. So when you hear somebody say, we used to be Republicans, that's because they don't know anything about politics. They don't know the political process. They don't know anything. They're just regurgitating Fox News and right-wing propaganda talking points. They done drunk the Kool-Aid. They drunk all the Kool-Aid and ain't even no sugar in it. Well, that's how bad it is. They drinking that bitter shit. Remember back in the day, a little pack, it had no sugar in it. You had to mix it. You had to put the sugar. I used to be the man at making the Kool-Aid. Let me just let you know. But that's what they drinking. They drinking the old pack of Kool-Aid with no sugar. All right, ain't nothing in there. That's why they so messed up, right? That's why they're giving you they're giving you false information, and they're leading their unknowing, unknowledgeable flock off a goddamn cliff. And it's my job as a Pan-African, a real one, to be like, dog, these Coonarians are leading you off a cliff, no matter how many the followers cuss me out while they're walking towards the cliff. Literally, I'm trying to save your life, and you cussing me out. But go ahead, because when you get to the end of that cliff, there's no coming back. You understand? But anyway, without further ado, I think I made enough commentary to where I can post this video, because I clipped a lot of it, right? I clipped a lot of it, and I might get a strike on this, so I had to make enough so that YouTube could say I gave enough commentary in order to use this. But it's very important that you pay attention to all the words in the video. All right? I'm giving you, like, look, if after this video, if you don't get what I've been pumping, what I've been saying, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I don't know what to tell you. Because listen, I can't teach. Listen, I'm like a college professor. I can't come down here and be teaching elementary school. I can't teach you how to color in between the lines. I need you to learn how to color in between the lines. I need you to know how to form a proper sentence. I need you to know how to form a proper paragraph. I need you to be able to write an essay so that we can have an adult conversation about real shit. Because I can't have people be asking me for stuff. I'm like, these are basic things as an adult you should already know so we can have an adult conversation. But if you're not up to speed, a lot of these people who are asking questions, they're not prepared to be in this conversation, not prepared to even be talking about the topic until they educate themselves up a little higher. But anyway, without further ado, watch this video and pay attention. That's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach them.
Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone.
Hey all, I'm John Avlon, and this is Reality Check on the Extremist Beat. We've got to talk about Christian nationalism. Because it's gone from a fringe belief system advocated by a few folks on the far right to an increasingly prominent article of political faith inside the Republican Party. In recent months, it's been celebrated by some of the Trumpiest members of Congress.
We need to be the party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists. The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it, and I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk.
And that's not all. Christian nationalism also reared its head in the January 6th attack on Congress.
Thank you, divine, omnipotent, and omnipresent creator God, for filling this chamber with your white light of love.
Now, you might ask yourself, just how different is this really from mainstream Christianity, and how much of a departure is it from politics as usual in a democratic republic? The answer is a lot. So let's clarify our terms here, right? A recent study by the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty listed 5 core narrative beliefs of Christian nationalists. 1. America is a divinely appointed nation by God that is Christian. 2. America's founders were in fact establishing a nation based on Christian principles with white men as the leaders. 3. Others would be Native Americans, enslaved Africans, and immigrants would accept and cede to this narrative of America as a Christian nation and accept their leadership. 4. America has a special place, not only in world history, but in biblical scripture, especially concerning the return of Christ. 5. There is no separation between church and state. Now, in case that sounds like an exaggeration for effect, I want you to watch this clip of an arena full of evangelicals in Atlanta reciting the so-called Watchman Decree.
Whereas we, the church, are God's governing body on the earth, whereas we have been given legal power from heaven and now exercise our authority, whereas we are God's ambassadors and spokespeople over the earth, whereas through the power of God we are the world influencers, whereas because of our covenant with God we are equipped and delegated by Him to destroy every attempted advance of the enemy.
Yes, Christian nationalism is crying out for a reality check, in part because of its crushing certainty. Look, God knows, good people can disagree about religion. But as Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but not their own facts. And there is precious little evidence that the founders intended to establish an explicitly Christian nation. For example, the Constitution does not mention God, the Bible, or the Ten Commandments. Now, yes, most founders were Christian, and many hoped that religious faith writ large would help maintain an honest, civil, self-governing society. But George Washington notably declined to take communion as president. Thomas Jefferson and James Madison were famously committed to religious liberty and the separation of church and state. And even the 1797 Treaty of Tripoli, ratified by a Senate full of founders, declared, "The government of the United States of America is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion." The United States has seen several waves of religious revivals that have helped shape our culture in profound ways. But we have also seen waves of immigration that increase the diversity of religious traditions practiced here in America. And evangelical Christianity is a relatively new phenomenon that essentially stayed out of politics as an organized force until the 1970s and 1980s. All of which is to say that just as Americans can be deeply patriotic, but not narrowly nationalist, Americans can also be deeply religious without blurring their faith with partisan politics. Now, joining me to discuss this recent rise of Christian nationalism is Amanda Tyler, the Executive Director of the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty and the lead organizer of Christians Against Christian Nationalism. Amanda, explain why, as a person of faith, you feel a need to warn your fellow Americans about Christian nationalism.
Well, thanks, John, for having me on and for covering this really vital topic. Christian nationalism is not Christianity. Christian nationalism is a political ideology and a cultural framework that tries to merge our identities as Americans and Christians. And in the process, it threatens Americans' democracy, it distorts America's promise of religious freedom for all, and importantly to me and to thousands of other Christians, it distorts Christianity, sometimes beyond recognition. And that's because it takes Christianity's central message, which is a gospel of love, and turns it into a false idol of power. It confuses our allegiances to God and replaces it with an ultimate allegiance to country. We've seen the rise of Christian nationalism at different periods in our history, including in the 1950s, around the Cold War, where we saw increasingly evidence of Christianity in government speech, such as "In God We Trust" or adding "Under God" to the Pledge of Allegiance. So this isn't the first time that we've had efforts to push privileging of Christianity over other faiths. In recent years, we saw former President Trump really exploit some of this Christian nationalism ideology for political gain, to galvanize groups of people together who believe in this ideology, who want Christianity privileged over other religions by the government, and use that to exploit for political gain.
Coming up, you'll hear why our guest says now is the crucial moment for Americans of all faiths to stand up and condemn the rise of Christian nationalism.